Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for our final video of Grand Prix Sunday, looking at the F1 race, which I think delivered. I thought it was a fun one, that one. We'll break down everything from the race. Firstly, make sure you hit subscribe. That is the rules. You have to subscribe first. But let's take a look at what's going on. And before the race even starts, there's a lot of questions around Nico Hülkenberg. Now, it's announced he will be starting from the pit lane since he's had an engine and gearbox change, breaking Parc Fermé. He would have been P20 anyway, so pit lane start's not too bad. Then on the reconnaissance lap, he says there's smoke coming out of the car and loss of power, and it looks like he might not even start the race. But he does, just about. They pull the car into the pits, into the garage, and they're able to fix it, and he will be able to start the race. The other Haas, though, Kevin Magnussen, he's received a free-place grid penalty for impeding Charles Leclerc during qualifying, meaning he goes from 13th to 16th. But the rest of the grid will stay the same. Leclerc on pole, Perez alongside. Of course, Max Verstappen, who got pole position, is starting 6th due to a 5-place grid penalty for the gearbox change. And for the first time all weekend for an F1 session, it's actually dry, and the session is not delayed in any way. It's some sort of a miracle. But what it does also mean is that all of this is very much unknown to all the teams. This is the only real dry running they've done. They have no idea how the tyres work. They especially have no idea how the tyres work on full fuel loads. So it was really just a gamble for everyone on the tyres. When you have a look at them, they all start on the softs apart from Norris, Stroll, Russell, Alonso, Hülkenberg and Piastri, who started on the medium tyres. And lights out and away we go, and it's Carlos Sainz who makes a big mistake, locking up and then squeezing Oscar Piastri into the wall. Piastri takes quite a lot of damage and is gone right to the back of the grid. Sergio Perez is able to take lead on the Kemmel Straight, but Oscar Piastri is out of the race, which is devastating. After an incredible sprint race yesterday for him, he's been getting some really good momentum behind him, but again and again and again, this kid can't get any luck. I mean, he got unlucky in Silverstone because of the safety car. He got unlucky with the engine issue in Hungary. Unlucky here because Sainz just smashed him into a wall. If Oscar Piastri didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. Hopefully he can turn that round in the second half of the season, because I think people are really behind him now. They've seen, he seems like a genuine good guy, and he's got a lot of speed in him, and he's got a good car there. I think he's got a really bright future, and hopefully he can just, get a bit of luck for once. That'd be nice. In the other McLaren, though, Lando Norris is really struggling. He was down to P11 on lap 6, but Alex Albon was actually thriving here at the start of the race, up to P7. Norris comes into pit for the hard tyre on lap 6, so his mediums lasted 6 laps before they had to be pit for. Max Verstappen gets past Lewis Hamilton up to P3 on lap 6, and this is where we see the damage that Sainz has had, and he's just going backwards. Russell passes him for P10 on lap 7. Ocon and Bottas do their first pit stops for the mediums then. Sargent passes Sainz for P11, that's on lap 8. Then Gasly passes Sainz as well. Sainz comes into pits for the mediums. This really doesn't fix his issues at all. Lando Norris gets overtaken by 2 cars, both Albon and Ocon. He goes from 13th to 15th on lap 8. Verstappen then passes Leclerc. He's up to P2 on lap 9. Alonso pits from 5th on lap 11 for mediums, and he comes out behind Hülkenberg, but then is able to get past him relatively quickly. That's for P8 on lap 12. Hamilton pits from P4 for mediums on lap 13. Then on lap 14, Leclerc and Perez both pit. Perez from P1 pits for the mediums, and then Leclerc from P3 pits for the mediums. The next lap, Max Verstappen pits for the mediums. Perez was able to retake the lead through the pit stops. Now, there are the threats of rain that are starting here, and we see a little battle forming between Lance Stroll and George Russell for P5 on lap 15. P15. But as Russell is trying to size up Stroll, Alonso comes out of nowhere and dive bombs Russell. Great move for him. Alonso up into P6. And then on lap 17, Max Verstappen takes the lead from Sergio Perez, basically on the back of him for an entire lap, waiting until he's on the Kemmel Straight, and zooms right past him. This is when the rain arrives. Lance Stroll loses 2 positions in one corner from P7 to P9 on lap 20, and Stroll pits for the softs on lap 21, and at the time I thought this was a huge mistake, because we just seen the rain starting to come in. Lance is pitting for the softs. It kind of reminded me of Monaco when it just started to rain, and Aston pitted Alonso for the softs. I thought they'd made the exact same mistake again, but it seems that the rain was mostly over by that point, and it wasn't ever strong enough to actually seriously worry anyone, especially about tyre changes. There's a fantastic move by Lando Norris. Now the track was a little bit damp, and the McLaren kind of came into its own a little bit, and he went round the outside of Logan Sargent. That's for P16. Russell also pits then for the softs, and Gasly pits on lap 24. He was the only one who hadn't pit at that time. He managed to make his soft tyres last 24 laps. Great stuff from Pierre Gasly, especially when everyone else is struggling so much. On lap 25, Carlos Sainz retires the car about 25 laps later than he probably should have. Lewis Hamilton pits for the softs on lap 28. Leclerc comes in for the softs on lap 29. We get a little battle between Hamilton and Alonso, but it doesn't last long. Hamilton gets out in front. Now, on lap 30, it's Perez's turn to pit, and lap 31, it's Max. We have a fantastic move from Pierre Gasly on Alex Albon. This is on lap 33. And then, not wanting to be outshone by his Alpine teammate, Ocon does an even better move around the outside of Yuki Tsunoda, the overtake on the end of the Kemmel Straight for P9 on lap 39. Albon is finally making some big moves at the back of the grid, first getting past Ricciardo, then Hülkenberg up into P15, then past Magnussen. This is right in the dying moments of the race. Then on lap 43 of 44, Lewis Hamilton comes in to pit for the fastest lap, but does it on the mediums, and I didn't think he was going to be able to get it, but he did, which is annoying, because I had triple points on Max Verstappen this weekend, and that's 30 points Lewis Hamilton's denied me in the fantasy there. But at the end of the race, it was Max Verstappen who wins from Sergio Perez to complete the Red Bull 1-2. Charles Leclerc completes the podium. Lewis Hamilton in 4th. Alonso in 5th. Good result for Aston as they're struggling at the minute. Russell in 6th. Norris manages to hold on for 7th. Ocon in 8th. Stroll in 9th. Yuki Tsunoda brings home another point for the AlphaTauri team in 10th. Gasly just missing out in 11th. Bottas in 12th from Zhou in 13th. Albon 14th. Magnussen 15th. Ricciardo 16th. Sargent 17th. Hülkenberg 18th. Then it's Sainz and Piastri, the 2 non-finishers of the race. A great race there. We've got 4 weeks now of the summer break. I just want to say now there will be content on the channel during the summer break, so make sure you subscribe for that. In terms of who's looking strong, of course it is Red Bull. They've been looking strong all year, winning every race and every sprint race. But, Leclerc looking good here. Mercedes are always consistently there. Mercedes have strangely been consistently like the 3rd fastest team at every race, even though it seems like the 2nd fastest team changes every race. The 1st and 3rd fastest teams always consistently have been Red Bull and then Mercedes. McLaren will be disappointed here. Not really sure what went wrong. Maybe Norris had an issue. Who knows what Piastri could have done there. But I think McLaren will go into the summer break quite happy. Their car is in a much better position, especially if you look at the sprint race as well. And the previous 2 races, they'll be looking good. Aston might be left scratching their heads a little bit, but they have apparently got upgrades coming in Zandvoort, which might bring them back closer to the front of the grid. AlphaTauri, I think, are happy where they are. Ricciardo messed up in qualifying, but if he hadn't, I think he could have been in the mix with Yuki there as well. And, everyone else is about where you would expect. I think a good race overall. We're back tomorrow for driver racings, of course. Then on Tuesday, there's the Hungary Grand Prix travel vlog thingy. That'll be fun for everyone involved. Right, that is all we've got time for today. Max Verstappen won Driver of the Day from the fan vote at the end of the race. I think that's well deserved. We'll be back tomorrow to find out who my driver of the day is, though. I'll have to wait to see who that is. So, that'll be there. I will see you there. Have a great rest of your Sunday. If you have to go to work tomorrow, don't worry, so do I. We can all feel sad together. Until then, though, goodbye.